Hello and welcome to the topic Pituitary Tumor and Mass Effects in the Endocrinology module. By the end of this topic, you should be able to define mass effects of pituitary tumors, explain the pathophysiology and causes of mass effects, describe the clinical manifestations, outline the investigations to diagnose and monitor response to therapy, and discuss the principles of management. Let's get started. Firstly, let's start understanding the definition of mass effects, which is a medical term meaning the growing tumor causing pressure on things that do not like to be pressed upon. Most functioning pituitary adenomas are discovered only when they cause symptoms from mass effects. Prolactinomas and clinically non-functioning pituitary adenomas are the most common types of pituitary adenomas. Radiologically, clinically non-functioning pituitary adenomas are classified as microadenomas, which is less than 10 millimeters in diameter, or macroadenomas, which is 10 millimeters in diameter and more. Now let's take a look at the causes of pituitary adenomas and its pathophysiology. So pituitary adenomas are monoclonal in origin, initiated by intrinsic genetic alterations, plus hypothalamic hormones and other local growth factors further contribute to the growth and progression of the small adenomas into large or invasive mass. Besides, some pituitary tumors arise from clinical syndromes such as multiple endocrine neoplasia type 1, McCune-Albright syndrome, and Carney's complex. Other than that, activation of oncogenes mutations as well as inactivated tumor suppressor gene mutations result in abnormal cell proliferation, differentiation, and hormone secretion. The pituitary gland sits inferior to the hypothalamus and surrounded caudally by the sphenoid bone in a scoop-like structure called the sella turcica and superiorly by the optic chiasma. With the presence of the sella turcica, it forces an expanding adenoma superiorly, resulting to compression of the optic chiasm, causing visual field defect. Additionally, destruction or compression of the pituitary gland may cause complete or partial hypopituitarism, and constellation of endocrine symptoms are due to hypersecretion or suppressed inhibition of the hormones of the hypothalamic pituitary axis. Patients with pituitary macroadenomas may be asymptomatic or may present with complaints due to hormonal imbalance or mass effects. Firstly, mass effects of the macroadenomas may present with visual disturbances, symptoms suggestive of increased intracranial pressure such as headache and early morning vomiting. Owing to infarction of a pituitary tumor or sudden hemorrhage within the pituitary gland, this can contribute to the presentation of pituitary rupture, which presents as medical emergency with a headache, sudden collapse, indicating shock or death if not treated emergently. These presentations are commonly due to macroadenomas. In common, patients with macroadenoma would not have significant physical findings, whereas certain findings might be due to mass effect or hormonal imbalance. As the tumor compresses against the optic chiasma, patients may present with visual field defects. Besides, sudden increase in tumor size together with hemorrhage may lead to increased intracranial pressure, where the patient may present with papillary edema on fundoscopy, altered mental status, and Cushing's triad, which comprises of raised blood pressure, reduced heart rate, and reduced respiratory rate. Diagnostic tests that further supports the diagnosis are basal hormone levels and dynamic hormone measurements depending on the tumor studied. So basal hormone measurements are prolactin, thyrotropin, thyroxine, adenocorticotropin, cortisol, LH, FSH, estradiol, testosterone, growth hormone, insulin like growth factor 1, and alpha subunit glycoprotein. Dynamic hormones help to assess the functionality of the tumor and assist in ruling out differentials. Those tests are thyrotropin releasing hormone causing elevation of serum prolactin and thyrotropin, growth hormone releasing hormone which produces an elevation in growth hormone, hyperglycemia which suppresses serum growth hormone, corticotropin releasing hormone which causes a rise in corticotropin, insulin induced hypoglycemia which causes a rise in corticotropin, cortisol and growth hormone, dexamethasone suppression test which is used in Cushing syndrome evaluation, co-syntrophin testing and corticotropin infusion testing which assist in assessing the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and GnRH, which causes an increase in LH and FSH levels. Imaging studies are vital in confirming the diagnosis of pituitary macroadenoma as well as ruling out other cellular tumors. In contrary, plain skull radiographs aren't the choice of imaging as its inability to delineate soft tissue tumors. CT scans enhances bony structures and calcifications within soft tissues than other imaging. Differentials in cases of tumors with calcification would be germinomas, craniopharyngiomas, and meningiomas. Meanwhile, MRI is the preferred imaging study for the pituitary. It provides better visualization of soft tissues and vascular structures. It delineates the characteristics of the tumor, including any invasion of cavernous sinuses and sphenoid sinuses, in addition to chiasmal compression. It is contraindicated in patients with permanent pacemakers and should be avoided in patients with end-stage kidney disease on dialysis. Now let's discuss the management of pituitary tumors in general. So surgical intervention remains mainstay for pituitary macroadenomas except macroprolactinomas, which usually have an excellent response to medical therapy. The tumor size may be diminished but often does not disappear completely. So medical treatment plays an essential role in reducing tumor size, controlling hormonal excess, or correcting hormonal deficiency. Examples of medical treatment are dopaminergic agonists such as bromocriptine, which are useful for prolactin secreting macroadenomas, radiation therapy followed by somatostatin such as octreotide, this is given for post-surgical treatment for growth hormone secreting tumor. Centrally acting medications include bromocriptine, valproic acid, and cyproheptadine. Peripherally acting agents include ketoconazole, mitotane, and metirapone, and this is used for cortisol-secreting tumor. Radiation therapy followed by bromocriptine, octreotide, LH-releasing hormone antagonists, and these are used for gonadotropin-secreting macroadenomas. And radiation therapy followed by octreotide, and this is given for thyrotropin-secreting tumors. As for surgery, the transsphenoidal surgery is the mainstay approach and indicated in cases such as symptomatic pituitary apoplexy, clinically non-functional pituitary macroadenomas with mass effect, tumors that are progressively increasing in size, most pituitary macroadenomas with consideration of size at presentation and likelihood for growth and clinical impact if growth occurs. Surgery is also indicated when other investigations cannot confirm the diagnosis. So in summary, we have understood the mass effects, which refer to the effects exerted by a growing tumor onto the pituitary gland. Most non-functioning pituitary adenomas are discovered only when they cause symptoms from mass effects. Pituitary adenomas are monoclonal in origin and further contributed by clinical syndromes and other hormonal factors. With its presence in the sella turcica, it forces an expanding adenoma superiorly, resulting to compression of the optic nerve and headaches from mass effect. As the tumor compresses against the optic chiasma, patients may present with visual field defects or increased intracranial pressure. Diagnostic tests that further supports the diagnosis are basal hormone levels and dynamic hormone measurements depending on the tumor studied. Imaging studies such as MRI and CT scans are vital in confirming the diagnosis of pituitary macroadenoma. Medical treatment plays an essential role in reducing the tumor size, controlling hormonal excess or correcting hormonal deficiency, and transsphenoidal surgery intervention remains mainstay treatment for pituitary macroadenomas. We have come to the end of this topic. Thank you.